so I'll be talking about simulation for a bit. So the first question comes is, what is simulation? What we see by definition is that simulation is imitation of operation of a real world process or a system over time. So we took the example of a driving simulation. What it does is it provides you a screen and it provides you the real world. And what you can do with it, you can hold a steering wheel and steer through it and learn how to drive. So what we are trying to establish here is that simulation is a very novel way of learning things which are really hard to do and complex to do in real life. For example, simulation transforms the extraordinary into the mundane by rendering an index reality. What you are trying to say is that the consequence of driving or learning a car in real world may be fatal for you or for others. But if you are learning it via simulation, then the chances of the ill chances are very less. So another thing that simulation encompasses is that repetitive guesses are used to construct an interactive, repeatable, and highly portable situation. For example, what I mean by repetitive guesses is that when you are cooking something, for the first time you cook it, it might not be that good, but every time you repeat the process, you know how much salt needs to be added. But every time you paint a picture, you get an idea how much paint should I mix with a solvent to get the perfect color. Yeah. So the second slide says simulation is all around us. The technique of creating simulated reality is not only unique and it's practiced intentionally or unintentionally by all of us. So again, the same point that I was saying, that whenever you are learning anything, you do it by hit and try. You do it once, it doesn't turn out that good, and then you try and do it again. One can say that simulation is an intermediary mechanism between innovation and routine. What this means is that when you are trying to do something which is highly complex, you have an idea that it cannot be done by simpler means. So you try to simulate it through basic ideas or setting some lower standards. Through that process, what you learn is that there can be novel ways and other ways to attain the final aim that you are trying to do, the complex problem that you are trying to solve. And simulations are used when goals are ambiguous, when one has a rather complex, risky or incomprehensible objective. The perfect example of this would be creating a zero-gravity atmosphere for astronauts or pre-launching space shuttles into the space. Yeah. Now I'll try to explain the three dimensions of simulation. This is a little bit technical, but it is important for our presentation as it speaks about simulation has occurred within our generation since a long time. It's not solely related with computer graphics or the way we perceive it to be at the present generation. So when you see at the graph, the x-axis, the yellow one, it is the modality, whether a simulation is purely physical or is purely virtual. The blue axis, the z-axis, it says pre-enactment on the positive axis, and the negative axis says self-referential. What pre-enactment means is that, for example, in a case, boxing was used. So the two fighters who were parallel with each other, they have been shown as simulating something which they will use later in their fighting. That is a pre-enactment of their actual match. And what self-referential means is that creating something that has already happened. For example, a physical self-referential would be re-portraying a civil war, and a virtual self-referential would be a video game or something of that sort. So I'll explain this through various examples. And again, the y-axis is realism, how real your simulation is with what you are trying to attain. So yeah, our first video is girls fencing in Croatia. So this is a form of pre-enactment where girls try to work in a certain set of norms and learn the art of fencing through each other. This is a purely physical form of modality, so it will come higher on the x-axis. So this sort of simulation, as we see, is very different from what we perceive it today. And we see that through simulation, has existed throughout our generation and before time as well. this is just a reenactment. The other example would be something more recent and would involve mapping a sports player. They use Gareth Bale in FIFA 14, and we see how his movement and mapping techniques have been used in the real game. So this is a purely virtual form of simulation.
In the game this year, there'll be a lot of different ways to score, a lot of different shots to do, and yeah, we filmed a lot of them today, kind of chipping and hard strikes, curling the ball, and the free kick technique I use, and the way you take penalties, etc. Like that. So to see it on the game makes it even more interesting and more realistic. To be on the front cover of the game is obviously a massive honour. I think when you look at the people that have been on the players that have been on the front cover since I was a kid, they've been legends to the game, and yeah, to actually be.
So again, this form of simulation would come on the self-referential z-axis, negative z-axis, and the realism again in this situation would depend on the user, how much he is able to create the situation in which he feels the game to be real. And it's purely virtual as per the x-axis. And the third one we are showing another video game which is called Simulated City, and in short form it's called SimCity. And you have to wait for 5 seconds. So again, this game is a purely virtual mechanism where you can do whatever you want to do. And when I mean whatever you want to do is, I mean because I've played here, and then here you can have a baby of your own, have a bank account and whatnot. So yeah. A whole virtual world is created. And the realism again is user dependent. How much, the more he interacts with the game, the more real he feels it. So our agenda of showing this free video to you is that simulation has occurred in different forms throughout the time, and as we progress further and further, it's getting more and more towards lower differential frame and moving more towards virtualism, and the reality is increasing more and more. With this basis, we will try to move ahead and try to explain how simulation has, how simulation evolved through time.
So if we look at simulation, let's see simulation as a model. So if we actually see what simulation means, simulation is based out of nothing. Simulation has no reference real point. You cannot say that, okay, out of this real object I'll simulate something. So simulation has absolutely no reference point, but it takes science as references. So the actions that you do, the way you react to situations are taken as reference points for you to simulate. So what is the basic difference between simulation and representation? So representation is just something that refers reality, but simulation is something that refers to itself because it has no base, it has no reality. It keeps referring to itself and it keeps developing on itself. So if we see the stages that in which representation changes into a simulation, first it is the reflection of basic reality. It does not have reality, it's just a reflection of it, which is again an image which is not real. And then it masks the reality, and after that a stage will come where you are actually able to see an absence of reality, and finally there is no relation to the reality altogether, and this is what is called the simulacrum. So simulacrum is nothing but a copy of a copy of a copy. So at one stage the simulation goes to such a process that it's just a simulation of itself, and at a stage you do not even understand where the actual process started altogether, where the origin is, where the reference point is. So what you believe is what is real. So you do not even differentiate between reality and simulation, and what you believe is just the simulation as the truth. So this concept of actually the conscious brain's inability to differentiate between what simulation is and what the reality is the concept of hyperreality. So the model that we have made is the hyperreal model. So hyperreal model, it need not be rational because it's totally based off simulations, and finally by the end of it you do not even know where it leads to. And the product is a synthesis of various hyperreals with absolutely no common base. There is no common atmosphere on which you can combine them. And by the end of it, it becomes so complicated that you do not even understand what this is all about, and it's just that you understand that what the simulation tells you is what the reality is altogether. Yeah, so for example at Disneyland, if you look at Disneyland, how did all of it start? So it first started based on reality, based on how actually people react to situation, and that is again taken to the characters of the Disneyland, and then it is reproduced endlessly. As we can see that each and every action is nothing but the portrayal of human form itself. And it has come to such an extent that if you actually ask the kids, they might feel that, okay, so it has been reproduced to such a large extent that there is a lost reality. So you do not even understand what the reality and what the real simulation is. And it goes to such an extent that the final simulation becomes the reality itself, and that situation is called hyperreality. So yeah, we begin to live in a situation where the simulation of reality is more real to us than the phenomena itself. Yeah, so let's see what simulation has, what are the effects of simulation on postmodernism. So if you look at postmodernism, first thing that it says that once we progress into this era, everything will be simulated because we start developing things on our own. Second part is as contrary to Marx theory that the industry is no more based on the modes of production, but all it runs is on consumerism. And third thing is mass media entertainment industry will bombard with so many messages, there will be so many simulated messages that you will not even be able to understand what is coming from where, and even the modes of the messages will be very complicated. Yeah. So the science, yeah, so now let's see what mass culture is. Consumerism, as we know, consumerism is nothing but the depiction of mass culture. So mass culture, it is no more the image of the society, but it is the society itself. So now it has come to a stage where mass consumerism has spread across through all the industries, especially in the media industry. And now the distinction between the reality that happens on the media and what actually happens in the real world is lost. So the thin blur line that was there is being lost, and in future coming days there will be absolutely no difference between, so that is the hyper-realistic state that will be reaching soon. So if we look at this case, so this is Venice, and it's the real Venice that we have, and that is Venice in Las Vegas. And people actually do not, they say that is, they prefer that more than going actually down to Italy. So there now comes a point where people are actually happy visiting a simulated Venice than going down to Venice itself. So this is how the trend has been going. Yeah, so if we look at this case, the Matrix movie case, we understand that even in Matrix, they have come to a point, in a hyper-reality point, where people have assumed that whatever they have been watching, whatever they have been seeing is true, and they have stopped questioning what the reality is, because they are assuming that there is nothing reality, or whatever they are looking at, that is the reality itself. So there exists a point where we will no longer be in a position to even pass through the other side of the mirror, that is the other real world. They are not even in a position to understand that what they are living in is a hyper-reality, and that is not the reality, because again, there is no reference point, there is no real reference point. So what you understand is the reality itself is what you perceive. Yeah, so intertextuality is when you take references of a media to portray another media. So if we take the example of Clockwork Orange, so Simpsons in an episode they have taken Clockwork Orange as a reference, and they have made parody out of it. But now this is just the initial stage. So now we understand that it has just started with the parody, and we are aware of this. But there will be a stage where you are unaware of what you are doing, and the parody itself is the reality. So on this parody you develop another parody and another parody, and you stop realizing that that's a parody parody and that is the reality itself, and that is the phase then, and that is the model that we are talking about, that is the hyper-reality model. And there will come a base where you have actually stopped realizing that what you're doing is not comedy, but it is just the way that you're doing. So there is the line between seriousness and the parody, that is the comedy, will flourish. So now if we look at how high art was treated initially, and now that is during the modes of production where production was given importance, and now consumerism, that is popular culture, low art, how things have changed. So if we look at fine art was initially used by kings and kingdoms to propagate their kingdom, but now it is used as a mode of advertisement. So advertisement is a lower art of fine art. Similarly, opera was something that people used to go for listening to music, but now it has changed into pop music. Ballet, as we understand, they had a particular theme to perform, and now it has changed into genre movies. Classical music was a way to while away time, and now what we do is we watch television to while away the time. Classic literature that people used to study, the philosophy work that they used to study, now it has changed into reading novels. And art cinema, during those days, art cinema was something that is different from the normal norms of the culture and the society. But similarly, now if we look at in the lower sense, we can say that pornography is a lower art of art cinema, that is something deviant from the normal social culture. And this culture that people used to watch, now it has become music videos. So now, as we understand that the form versus content, people have started giving more importance to the form, that is the way they perceive things, the visual effect that they get. They have started giving more importance to the form than what the actual content is representing. So if we see that any of the movies, if we take Pulp Fiction or in fact any of the Quentin Tarantino movies, what we actually see, we look for the retro style of it, the kind of feel that we get. Or if we see 300 was nothing, it was just people acting in front of a green sheet. So and everything was simulated over the green sheet. And that was just 300. But now when we look at 300 the movies, we find all the visual effects more appealing than what the actual reality is. And slowly in the coming days, we actually will give more importance to the visual effect than what the actual movie is trying to convey. So this is the way hyper-reality is being started, and in the coming future days, we might actually come out to a world where we think that the hyper-reality world itself is the real, and we'll be forgetting what the real actual sense from where it originally started.
So let's talk about, we already talked about hyper-reality, the model which we have described in the movies, and how through the ages it has developed, and what people now do believe that they enjoy the virtual reality more than the real life. So let's take an example of the industries which make use of such simulations, such effects for their benefits. So first is the entertainment simulation, computer and video games, which was already shown before the video. Film is already done. Theme park. Theme park nowadays you can see that there are Columbus and 5D simulations where they actually enact the environment which was present at some point of time, and they make you believe that actually you are in that place and that scene is happening in front of you. So right now we are saying that this hyper-reality model is just in its evolution stage, and that's why you still are aware that this is a reality, that you are in a simulated environment. But there will be a time where the simulated environment will be it will be such a common place that you will not be able to differentiate between the real and the simulated environment. When we are saying about simulation in core businesses, military, flight and warfare, most of the times military, all the weapons and all the flight simulation are normally done sitting on the ground without having an airplane first. The design is made first, and then you have a simulation of the aircraft, what will it do in the air. Again, automobile industry, car crashes which happen, they are simulated beforehand, before laying out the cars on the road. So R&D labs, again research and development labs, since they have a very high-end, since companies, firms, etc. Use a lot of amount of money for R&D labs, so a lot of testing goes behind this. So here also simulation in a test scenario happens. Manufacturing, assembly line, SCM, these will be coming next. Manufacturing and retail. So this is a firm in context solutions. So what it does, it creates a simulated environment. So all the firms, these are its clients, you can see almost every big brands are present here. So what it does is you have a virtual retail store before you have a retail store in the real world. So they design everything on a software. So in the first video you can see that they have actually pointed out the sale points. So this is not an actual retail store. This is a simulated retail store. This is the image of that software. So you can see here they have pointed out the sale points, selling points when you enter a retail store, how the people will react to such scenes. Second is the shelf space. You can see that which object to be placed behind, which has to be placed in front, and so this is a case where the firms will know that which is the most beneficial place to place their products. Third is again when you are seeing that we have different discounts, different deals coming up. So you will place where exactly do you have to place the deal so that it is more visible. So in context solution does that. So most of the companies are actually using this in a simulated environment, and they are actually focusing on more and more companies are actually using this because it is a leverage to them. They can actually manage their risks at this point only before having an actual retail store in the real world. This is Lamasoft. This is again a supply chain network of supply chain designing software. There is a firm which designs this software. So what it does is, so there are different. These are the points where supply points, and they want to look at what concentration of people are present in such areas. So in that way they decide the supply chain management for their firms in this regard. So they have they have manufacturing sites at some place, they have supply point at some place. So we'll decide that since there are more people here, but there is only a single point here, single supply point here, but all the manufacturing units are present everywhere else. So they will try to decide that, they will try to map the paths, they will route their trucks and etc. to reach their position in a very optimized way. Next is the Von Bismarck. So this is again a retail virtual store. This has taken the hyper reality model to the next level, which you can see here. So what they have done is they have a mirror here, and you can actually stand in front of them, and all the apples, etc. you can carry right out of them. So Von Bismarck, what they have done is, so right now we can see that you are standing in front of a mirror and the clothes are being displayed in front of you. So as if it is that you are wearing it. But still you are aware that yeah, this is an illusion in front of you. But we are saying that there will be a time when actually you will see the images in front of you who are actually wearing it. So you do not have to be aware of the real as well as the virtual. So there will be no differentiation in that.
Shall we